is number 88. The fervor of a man's public declarations of fidelity to his woman positively correlate with an increased risk of cheating by either the man or the woman.
And this is one that I've never really discussed, even, in the year or two that I've been doing live video. This, and I don't know if you and I have ever discussed it. Because he wrote this before social media really took off.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, there's always, caveats to this. But how much of this is true?
Well, we have talked about privately and, publicly about how when it's the Maxim.
No, I'm just reading. I'm just trying to really get my head into
Anyway, when you see a post on social media that's like, oh, I just love my husband, he's just the best, da, da, da. And it's like this long gushing Facebook post, kind of seemingly out of the blue. 9 times out of 10, she's been a complete asshole.
Oh.
And she's trying really hard to make it up to him, and she thinks that this public declaration will mean something to him, as if he gives a shit what she says about him on social media.
Yeah, he'd rather have coffee in bed or,
seriously,
a blowjob in the morning. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. Again, this is it's a unique situation, but I did, want your input on it because we've talked about this mostly in private.
Right.
We would notice this, and every once in a while, and have you ever seen gentlemen where they're like, oh, I love my wife, da da da?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Usually in our little world, guys kind of shit on that. It's not, it's not always. There's a time and a place, of course.
Yeah.
But it does tend to lend itself to it's revealing to something that's going on in the background. Like he got caught.
Right.
And he's so happy that she's still with him.
Yeah.
And didn't take the kids.
It's true.
Usually it's out of guilt.
I think that there are certain circumstances where those kinds of declarations are fitting. Mm-hmm. Number one, at the end of his birthday day, because there's a rule on social media that you have to go on social media, even if you never do, on your birthday, because everybody that you've ever known in your entire life is wishing you a happy birthday. It's just good form to kind of go through, say thank you every once in a while or whatnot.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, to say, hey guys, thank you for taking the time to wish me a happy birthday. It was a lovely day. And, thanks to my wife who made it extra special.
For sure.
Things like this, acceptable.
Because usually, just like in your case, it's the wife or the girl who's encouraging the men in her life to get on, like you did with your father.
Yeah.
You're like Dad once a year.
I text my father once a year about making sure he gets on social media because it's his birthday.
Exactly. And other people want to celebrate him.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
But it's a good point. And what's interesting too is sometimes every once in a while, these longer gushing effusive posts will be revealing. There's a few years back that a couple that we knew, the girl posted, he got her a major piece of jewelry.
I think it was a sapphire ring.
Yeah. This was at
it was a non-wedding. They were already
married. Yeah. But it was an anniversary gift or something.
Yeah.
And she mentioned it. She goes, admittedly, I've not been that easy to love this last year. And we were like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
And this girl's really, what it came out is she was just an absolute terror.
And he ended up cheating on her.
Yeah, he ended up leaving her.
He's happily married now to the woman he cheated with.
Exactly.
And we went to their wedding.
It takes a lot for a girl to have that kind of, and not in a good way, but it's you must have been an absolute terror.
Oh my God.
To actually come out on social media and go, I've been difficult to be around this last year.
Yeah.
For most girls, they would rather die in a fire than admit something like that.
Exactly.
But they can be revealing if you actually, read them sentence for sentence.
Well, and other times that I've seen where I thought it wasn't a setup for failure is like when a girl has a major accomplishment, like either health wise or at work. Sometimes, there are men who will jump onto social media who are social media guys anyway. I mean, make no mistake. It's not just randos, but who will say, my wife has worked her ass off for the last year and she's lost 50 pounds.
That's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
About. That's it.
And way to go, Trina. And that is not a setup for her cheating.
Or guilt.
Exactly. My wife just got a big raise. You really deserve this. Good job, baby. I love celebrating, your accomplishments in your career. Things like that, okay. But just jumping on and randomly gushing, I think is set up for divorce. In fact, most people that we know who just randomly gush without any real context, it truly is like
something else is going on.
Yeah.
And it sounds very gossipy, like us discussing it, but it's important enough that he wrote a Maxim about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It has enough weight in relationships and in dealing with women and men that he wrote an entire Maxim pertaining to it.
Well, and another example from our personal life that we could share, and we actually don't know what happened, but the guy has absolutely disappeared off the map, was there, women share stuff, all kinds of stuff on social media. And a lot of times they share more than they think they are. Like one couple had recently gotten together. We already were watching her because we were like, oh, this is going to be good. She is an absolute mess. She's all over the place. And she ended up hooking this guy. They got quickly engaged, married. They were too old. They weren't having children. It wasn't that she got pregnant or anything like that. They immediately, needed the bigger house, the better stuff, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then her birthday came along and she shared the homemade card that her family had made for her. And one of the kids had been like, I know it's been a really hard, month for you or 6 months for you or whatever it was, year for you. I'm so sorry. I hope that you and Mike or whatever his name was can get some time together to just relax on your birthday. It was like, that kind of stuff.
Weird stuff. Yeah.
Reveals a lot about the source of the relationship. And literally, we never have seen or heard from him again.
It's disappeared.
He's just gone.
I don't know if she killed him and put him in the basement. But it's crazy, but it happens sometimes,
But it's exactly like what
that's pretty
this
funny.
Maxim is indicating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is, truly like Chateau wrote this well before. I think he has very few references even to Facebook and definitely not to Instagram.
Yeah. But before social media, there was the guy. Think of Will Smith on
Absolutely.
Going gaga over Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
At every turn, just like.
It's almost like there's an inverse relationship. The more attention he puts on her, the less in reality she actually deserves it.
Yeah.
Or appreciates it.
Or appreciation, I think, is a huge factor. Huge. All right, these are in no particular order whatsoever.